Today we're going to be building new basement support beams, and we are going to be tearing down antique block walls. Four months ago, with the help of my neighbor Justin and my friend Roman, I started remodeling and restoring the mansion my great-great-grandfather bought almost 100 years ago for $7,000. Up to this point, we have demoed the attic, spray foamed the attic, tore up the hardwood floors upstairs, tore up the hardwood floors downstairs, removed all the lath and plaster upstairs, removed all the lath and plaster downstairs, removed the old insulation in the attic upstairs and downstairs. We demoed the kitchen, we demoed the master staircase, we removed the antique radiators, we demoed the basement, built a new kitchen floor, built a new dining room floor, built a new kitchen wall, tore out the chimney, built a new living room floor, built a new pantry and bathroom floor, tore out the big black creepy tank in my basement, built a new kitchen support beam, built a new dining room support beam, built a new kitchen ceiling, demoed some of the basement foundation, poured a new basement footing and foundation, and built a new wall in the basement. This brings us to today. The big support beams in the ceiling of the basement over the last 100 years have started to fail. We need to pull the old ones down and then replace them with these brand new, modern, engineered pieces of lumber. For us to do this right, we need to tear down and rebuild this wall so that way we can take our new beams and we can properly transfer the loads straight to the center of the earth. So this means we got some jackhammering to do. Look at that, made short work of that wall. We are now on beam time. The very first thing we need to do when it comes to putting in the new beam on this side is we need to find dead center of the room because that is where we want to put our beam. So we're gonna measure from that wall to that wall and then just find center. That center right there?
The center of beam.
When we were rebuilding our floors upstairs, we sistered up every single floor joist, so all these are a doubled up 2x8. But right here, we have 3 that are not sistered up yet. So before we put our beam up, we have to get those 3 sistered because once beam's in place, we can't get boards above it. So step number 1. Wait, wouldn't that be step number 2? Because step number 1 was finding the center of the room. Step number 2, and we do not have any 2x8s, so I need to run to the lumber yard to go get 3 2x8s.
While Cole is grabbing our lumber, we have this furnace in the way because the beam is gonna go right through here, and we have this exhaust pipe. So all we need to do, trim it closer to the wall so we can move the whole furnace out of the way of our beam. We're also gonna take care of all the tangling stuff from the ceiling, and also we need to reattach this gas line that feeds our furnace. Several weeks ago when we were tearing out the beadboard from the basement, there's still hundreds of these nails stayed in the floor joists, and now they are in the way and we need to pull them out.
Oh, welcome to the lumberyard. I believe this is the building we need. I don't know, I'm just kind of pulling in here. Justin told me this is the building the stuff's in, so we're about to find out. And I just realized I forgot a tape measure. Did not film in there. We were trying to find 14 footers. They only had 3 of them, and one of them was pretty bad. So we got 2 14s and 1 12, 3 boxes of shims. Hopefully this is gonna work. We're gonna make it have to work.
Cole is on his way back with boards, and we're just not gonna wait around. So we're gonna start putting these LVLs together.
Hey, I'm back with food.
Yeah! We're starving here.
Oh, tacos, tacos, tacos. Have you ever had tacos prior to moving to the United States?
Never even heard such thing.
What was your first experience with the taco like?
It's good, different, good. I never liked spicy, so the only request I have not is spicy kind of taco.
I've been trying to accustom Roman to Hispanic ways, so I've been sliding jalapenos in his tacos. One of these days he's gonna miss one and not pick it out, and then he's gonna experience what it's really like. But unfortunately, it looks like he found all of them today. While I was off at the lumberyard getting the wood, Justin and Roman got the furnace moved from over here to this side of the room, and then they ended up shorting the exhaust hose and stuff going outside the building. We are now ready to lift this big beam up. It's all 100% ready to go. Justin and Roman got the 2x4s hanging down that we're gonna screw everything to already in place. But since we're nice and full with our tummies right now, before we do some big heavy lifting, we're gonna do a little lighter job while we digest a little. We need to pull this beam down over here. There we go. So the old beam sat up inside of that little cutout spot, but it's just not quite big enough for the new engineered boards that we're gonna be putting in there. So we're gonna take the demo saw, just gonna cut it down just a real little bit. See how that beam sits up inside of the concrete blocks of the foundation? Well, we need to cut another slit just like this one because we're literally building this exact same thing just on the other side of the house. I take that back. We are not going to be using the demo saw. We just have this little tiny area to cut out, so we're going to try to use the grinder. We'll see how well that's going to work. Now I got a spot where our board will sit, so it'll sit in there, something kind of like that. So the block will hold the weight downward, and then the board going across, which will be our beam, will sit right on the bottom of these floor joists and will help hold the center of the floor up. Before we stick our wooden beam inside of this slot that we just made, we need to actually prepare the wood because that is exterior wall right on the outside of that. So we do not want the piece of wood getting wet. So in order to prevent moisture, we are going to utilize this tape. This is called flashing tape. We are simply just going to wrap this end with it, and it's basically just going to waterproof the end of the board. But before we waterproof, we need to glue our two pieces of board together. So we're making a glue board sandwich. We now have this half of the basement all set up with the new beam. So we got a new beam going from that wall supporting it. We got beam right in the middle, which is supporting both of these beams. And then over here, we got the new area where we just did all of our little cutting. We got our flashing tape sitting in there, so we don't have to worry about that beam rotting or anything. So that all looks really good. We will eventually be putting a different beam in here when we end up redoing all the floor, but that's gonna be a project for another day. So right now, this is gonna be a good temporary permanent fix. We're now gonna try to do what we were gonna do before I had to run to the lumberyard, which is put up the 3 new floor joists, sister them up. We got the 3 I just got from the lumberyard sitting right here. Once we get those up, then we'll be able to put our big beam up here, just like we did on the other side. When I went to the scrapyard, I just discovered something I've never seen in my life. Normally when you're at the lumberyard, they have the crookedest, naughtiest, just cracked up junk pieces of wood. But this board is the most flawless board I have ever seen in my life. Look how straight that grain is. There is not a single knot in it. I take that back. We got one little baby knot right there. Look at that. That is such a clean board.
Where's it at?
Wow, that takes a sharp turn. And it's only been like 4 minutes, 5 minutes.
Been looking for it forever.
Have you found your yellow level yet?
No! Found it!
Okay, now you have explanation to do. Where did you leave it?
I didn't leave it here.
Who did?
I think you did.
Cole?
This is what happened.
Okay.
This is what happened. I give you 2 batteries to go put up here, and you had this in your hand with the 2 batteries. You set it right here. Went and plugged the 2 batteries in, got extra batteries, walked downstairs, left the level. This is what happened.
Are you really saying this?
That's what happened.
Don't you remember?
I can prove it.
How?
It's got your fingerprints all over it.
This morning I haven't even been at this station. And you're the one that you're walking up,
No.
grabbing the battery saying it's low. And I said, grab this battery, and I throw it to you. And you went up here, but I bet this level has been here since yesterday because you were here like this with the little oh, it's level here, oh, level here.
That does not sound like anything I did yesterday.
Cedric, that's where you're gonna use the footage of the previous video and show Justin crawling around with the level. Your level is 4.
That's level, and that's off, because this beam is right here, correct?
The Saint Justin all of a sudden busted. And now everyone knows his true colors.
Justin and Roman got the new floor joists up, so the entire floor above us is completely sistered up with the new set of floor joists. We are now ready to put this last big giant beam right underneath the middle of the floor, and this is the biggest one that we have, so, well, it's the longest anyway.
Oh, and all this doesn't matter because the main thing, Justin found his level. Justin?
You guys.
Don't put it in places like this because then you won't find it again and you'll be accusing everyone.
Yeah, but he sees all those as the same color anyway, so.
True.
Beam up, everything is all set up nicely. We got our jacks in place, so everything is tight. We don't have to worry about anything settling down. Problem is now the furnace decided that it was just going to stop working, so we have no heat. They're talking a low of 22 degrees tonight, so we would like to have heat in the house tomorrow. So Roman and I are going to try to tear into that and see what we can find out. The only reason why Roman and I know how to work on this furnace is because furnace guy came out and he showed us what we needed to do. Basically, we have these little fins right here on the side, and I guess that is where the air-fuel mixture ratio all comes together. So we're going to take a razor blade just very gently. We don't really even want to be touching the metal on the top or bottom. We just want to stick that razor in there and just scrape crud. We don't want to make those holes bigger by touching the metal, very fragile metal, because otherwise that messes with the heat, air, fuel ratio, which is what we don't want. We just want the crud out of there. Once the crud's out, we should have running furnace.
Wait for the gas valve to open. Like a champ.
Now that we got the new ceiling beams up in the basement, we can come back up to the main floor of the house, which is what we were working on before we got caught up in a whole big can of worms downstairs in the basement by having to rebuild the center foundation wall of the house. So we poured a footer, we poured a wall, we built a wall, then we had to redo all the beams and stuff solely because we wanted to build walls over here. And when we were trying to build these walls, we discovered that this part of the floor was really bowed out. So everything we did down there was because of this spot right here. So now we have this fixed, so we are now ready to start building walls down here, and we are ready to build header boards. But I'm tired. Everybody just took off and went home, so this is all we got for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.